Hey, what's going on, guys? It's the Block Bull right about now, bringing you the latest episode to the channel. Now, happy Easter to all you boys and girls out there. I hope everybody's not had too many Easter eggs. I know for me, certainly, I was straight in the gym this morning, making sure that I actually, trim some of that chocolate off, shall we say. Now, today we're going to dive straight into it. As you know, we have just closed the first quarter of the year of 2024. Wow. And we are now opening a new monthly candle here on the XDC network, as you can see playing out here. So we got a positive green candle for March, and we are literally just forming the new candle here now on the 1st of April 2024. And as you can see, we're still playing out. We are literally at the tip of the wedge now. Now, just depending on how you draw these trend lines and how you interpret them, we're still inside, and if you was to go into the beginning of May, obviously you would get the tip of that trend line. But we're going to have a play around with some of these trend lines today, just to try to clarify. And what we'll do, we'll also zoom in to the weekly time frame as well, and pinpoint these trend lines to see if we can get a more accurate reading to try and dictate to see when we can actually forecast when these markets are going to be taking off. Now, first and foremost, again with this red trend line at the top, I have used the wick, and then coming down I've also kind of accommodated these monthly closes as well. You could be more aggressive with this trend line here, because for me I felt this was a bit of a fake out, especially when you zoom into the weekly and the daily. They look like fake outs to me, but again, it all just comes down to interpretation. And with these trend lines as well, these teal trend lines here marking the top of the closes here. So we got the April 21 monthly close here. We just marked the close, going through the close of August as well, and this is coming out around $13 by the end of the year, going into January 2025. Also got this upper trend line as well that intersects around here, and that's from the opening. Well, that's from the close on the monthly, but if you go on the weekly, I'm pretty sure it's around the opening. But yeah, obviously, I've got all this structure playing out here, acting as support. Get the retest there on this red wick, and then you fall through to the bear market. So nothing's really changed in terms of that perspective. But what we're going to do is going to try and narrow it down. So we're going to go to the weekly time frame here on the XDC. Now again, can you see how these monthly trend lines differ on the weekly? So these weeklies have actually closed these weekly candles here. So this is why I like to be a little bit more aggressive. So here you've got the close down here, but you've obviously got the open for that weekly, and we're trying to accommodate for these the second peak here on the weekly time frame as well. So as you can see, these sort of time frames, if you're more aggressive with them, they're actually intersecting further along the lines along here. And then if you drag them out to the end of the year, it is quite a narrow gap here. So that kind of gives us, for me, an accurate reading of where we could potentially get. Now, everyone's going to laugh at this, but you're looking at $50 there by the end of the year, anywhere up to about $67, $68. But I am not one of these where I don't believe what's going to happen. Yeah, I understand we're literally hovering just below 5 cents at the minute, but if you are into XDC, you're in it for the long term. Now, with XDC, obviously we've got this 5.2 trillion trade finance gap to close, so we need to be getting up there, guys. And for me, I don't see why it's not possible, because if we are going to start using utility, this isn't just a 2017 bull market where Xrp did like near enough 60,000% returns. This times are different now. Obviously, we've got what's going on with Russia at the minute, China, and the Americans trying to play off with Taiwan as well for the microchips, Nvidia. This is a race to the end. This is a race to supremacy at the moment, and the QFS, the quantum financial system, has already been selected. They've selected and chosen their winners. So for me, XDC is one of the winners, along with Xrp, which we'll get onto next. Now, looking at this chart here on the weekly, we are literally, what I'm going to do is just drawing this new trend line. So again, from the high, again you can accommodate these, but again I feel like this was a fake out here. I'm not quite sure what happened here. I'm pretty sure there's venture capitalists got involved here. Someone did mention on X.com the reason for this burst in price action. I forget it, and I'll have to dig it out, but I ain't got time on my hands right now. But as you can see, we're literally at the tip of this wedge. And don't forget, guys, this is on the weekly, so pretty much any week now, any week through April, I do expect not a blow off, but I do feel like we're going to get this sort of first impulse, and we need to be challenging these sort of all-time highs around here before, obviously, we can get into price discovery. Now, when we get into price discovery, we will have targets. Obviously, the first sort of logical price targets are obviously going to be a lot more conservative in terms of like where you're going to be, taking prices here, because Fibonacci right about now is only forecasting around 76 cents, 76 and a half. So for me, I feel like XDC is going to smash these price targets out, and I don't even think Fibonacci is going to come to it. I feel like these are going to be so unreliable. So we are going to get much higher, guys. And for me, I'll be looking at getting around here and marrying these fractals up. As I say, I'm going to go into the daily now. As I say, with these fractals, we do need this first impulse, and then we can marry them up, and then we can be more realistic with the targets that are coming through. So let's just stretch this chart right out. Wait for this price data to load. So let's where are we now? So I'm just going to get copy from the tip of the wedge here. I could even carry it up here, up until this second peak. I'm just going to drag this across. So again, guys, fractals are not going to be as accurate, but we will get the tips and the dips where we need to be taking profit and re-entering the market. Now, I was having a play around with this earlier, and I noticed like this sort of dip, hill, dip. So it's almost like a double dip. So I wanted to place it around here. Yeah, and this is where we exceeded all expectations and broke above the wedge, and then fell back in, and this is where we're playing out now. So for me, XDC is pretty much good to go, and I want to be challenging this sort of high here from August 23. So if we can get up to about 9 cents, that's, we're on track there, and that would put us up at about 430 by March 25, but it's going to happen a lot sooner than that. Scrap that. We're going a lot higher, guys. We're going a lot higher. This could go absolutely anywhere. So, can you see here where this tips out and retests this previous high? That's what I want to see first and foremost. Forget all the rest of this price action, because like I say, we'll stretch this out at a later date. So what we want to see is this 9-10 cent range. So ideally, let's get that closed off. Hopefully we can see that sort of price move this week. Now if we can get this sort of 9-10 cent range by this following weekend, that would be fantastic, because that means we're on track to make some serious gains here, and then we can actually place this fractal where it needs to be. Because again, this can go as high or low as you want, but I would definitely be aiming up towards these top trend lines, because there's a lot of confluence here with these charts as well. And what I can also do for you guys is, what I need to do is shift this out of the way. You can't see it. But what I'll do is measure from the bottom here, and then measure 50% to this tip here. So I'll be looking at in line with about there. So that's about $2. So that'll be my first sort of target anyway. $2. I've got targets in my other video, so this isn't necessarily about the targets we're setting here with this video. This is just really, talking about the trend lines and, ultimately where we can get as a final target, as opposed to like interim targets where we can take profit and re-enter. I covered that in my previous video anyway. So yeah, I'm going to swiftly move on to XRP anyway. XRP is looking really good, and what we're going to do, zoom out to the monthly again, seeing as we're having all these monthly closes. Alright, let's scroll out here. So again, XRP is playing out really well. You can accommodate for these sort of closes here on the monthly. Bam, bam, bam. And again, it just depends if you want to count these as fake outs or not. If you're not counting these as fake outs, obviously this wedge is going to go on much longer. And then, you know, you could be looking at January next year before you even see a breakout. However, this is why we've got multi-time frame analysis. So if we go into the weekly, obviously you can get a more accurate reading as well. So let's just close that down, and then we've got a bit more room to play with. So as you can see, again, this was a high of 2021, and this red trend line doesn't accommodate for these other highs here, these retests. So this price action is retesting something. So what I'm going to do, not completely ignore this, but it is a little bit of an anomaly. So I'm just going to pull it down to about there. And then that way we're still getting the closes, we're still touching and tapping this upper trend line as well. Bam, bam, bam. I'll pull it down a little bit lower just to catch this as well. Yeah. And then the same with the bottom. We're still catching these closes, and you know, we're also getting these wicks are also tapping. Wick, 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 wick. Tap, tap. Yeah. All the back here through to inception. So I'd say that's fairly accurate on the weekly in terms of trend lines. So that comes to a tip around July, August. Usually they don't make it to the tip. Usually it's prior to you know, reaching the end of these wedges. So we could see a breakout any week now. Really, I would expect it to start breaking away in April. Where we can go again with fractals, you can stretch them anywhere. So I don't want to start using fractals because they were saying, oh, Black Bull, you said this target, you said that target, you was wrong, your TA's all wrong. Now again, this video is solely for the purposes of seeing when, you know, realistically we can look at breaking out. And to tell you the truth, it's any week now. I don't know which week. Obviously these are very highly sensitive because from week to week, obviously one of these candles is a week. So how do you want me to guess which one of these, where this curse is going? It could be any week now. But I'm going with April. It's gonna, historically, April's usually been a good month for crypto, and also in November as well. So either April or November, we're gonna see some big moves. Hopefully, we see impulse 1 during April, and then usually you get the second impulse pretty much within that 60 days. So within a 60-day period, we've already completed the 2 impulses within the super cycle, and then you'd probably look at getting a third impulse in either November, December time. So they're my sort of time scales going into this super cycle now. But the main thing is, all this TA is to basically reassure you guys of where we are in terms of the market. So at the moment, obviously we're at the precipice, we're at the launch pad, we're pretty much ready to go. And then when we get that first impulse, I'll start marrying that fractal up accordingly. So that's kind of the game plan we're going with so far, guys. As soon as we get that first impulse, I will then plot the targets, and then you know, we can get a better accurate reading on all that information that, you know, that the market presents to us, guys. So that's pretty much where we are. We are at the precipice, we are pretty much ready to go, and expect fireworks this month, guys. Make sure your bags are packed. If you enjoyed the content, make sure you give us a thumbs up and a sub as well. All the best, guys. Hope you enjoyed your weekend. Take care. Block Bull out.